So ESPN released an article earlier last week talking about how they would rank the head coaching vacancies in the NFL if all of them became open, or at least a select few that they believe could open in 2026. So they came up with a list of 8 separate teams, all of which they believe the coach has has either A, fired, so they're needing a head coach, or B, the coach is on the hot seat. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. We're going to operate with the assumption here that Raheem Morris gets let go at the end of the season. Like I told you in a couple of episodes prior, not entirely sure that's the case. I still think there's like a 70% chance that he saves his job based off some recent reports that I'm reading. But who knows? There's conflicting reports absolutely everywhere. Who knows what to trust? But here's what I do know. ESPN did rank those teams based off of their vacancies, and they are as follows. Number 1 is the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously because Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins live there. Arizona at 2, the Cleveland Browns at 3, which is an insane thing to say. The Titans, the Giants, the Falcons, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. So this list is obviously flawed, big time. Whoever would want to coach the Cleveland Browns or the Tennessee Titans over the Atlanta Falcons is beyond me. But again, this is not my list. This is ESPN's list. The guy who made the list is a guy named Bill Barnwell. NFL insider for ESPN. I'm not sure how much I trust him, but he did say this about the Falcons head coaching job in his article. Arthur Blank has generally been a patient owner, but if the Falcons do fire Raheem Morris after 3 losing seasons, it will be the second time in a row that Blank's coaching hires have been 3 and done. The Falcons haven't posted a winning record since 2017, which might hint at why Blank's patience will be wearing thin. An incoming coach wouldn't have much draft capital to work with in 2026 and would be tied with Penix for at least one more season as he returns for another serious knee injury, and that limits how appealing this job might be to some incomers. Okay, so what do we know here? We do know that if the event would happen that Raheem Morris would lose his job and a new coaching staff would come in, the biggest uncertainty is, of course, the quarterback. It obviously is. This is 2025. The game is won and lost with the quarterback. So the biggest uncertainty would be, of course, MPJ. However, I do believe that Penix is in a unique situation here because he was taken 8th, so you definitely want to look and see what you've got in that 8th overall pick. But do you have the opportunity or the patience to deal with this type of stuff? And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking at here. Why do we have to sit here and go back and forth about Michael Penix Jr. when you can just sideline him until he's fully healthy and then evaluate as we go along? And that's really it right there. Bill Barnwell also goes on to say that there is certainly talent here on the team, but a new coach would want to hitch their wagon, or would a new coach want to hitch their wagon to such a team? I don't know. I don't think that that's a real thing. Obviously, well, I'll give you the perfect example here. Matt Eberflus gets fired in Chicago. Caleb Williams gets drafted in Chicago. Matt Eberflus is the coach there. Everybody's like, get rid of Matt Eberflus, start fresh with Caleb. It obviously didn't happen. It's a disaster. Then they get rid of Matt Eberflus. In comes Ben Johnson. The day is saved. Hooray, everybody parades around and celebrates. But I would also say that Michael Penix Jr. does not even have a full season of starting yet. So how could we really give him a fair shot? All of this, by the way, is a very fair argument. All of it. Very fair argument. I understand both sides. I understand somebody saying, look, we don't have the patience to go out and give MPJ another year, plus given the injury history, it's time to move on. I get that. But I also understand someone saying, you're really only going to give this guy 12 games to show you what he's got with a terrible head coach and then just completely move on from him and act like he can't play? It's a fair argument. It's a very fair argument. But I want to go back to something that the article mentioned previously. Why would a head coach want to hitch their wagon to this team? I could think of some really good reasons why someone would want to hitch their wagon to the Atlanta Falcons. Number 1, Bijan Robinson. 2, Drake London, Kyle Pitts if he stays, Chris Lindstrom, all-pro right guard. There's 4 reasons right there on offense. And then, I don't know if you guys noticed, the defense is absolutely loaded. Walker, Pearce, Dorlus, Harrison, Bowman, Terrell, Elliss, Deablo, Watts, Bates. All of these guys have insane amount of talent. So, yeah, there would be a big market, in my opinion, for the Atlanta Falcons head coaching job. Because the truth is, there are not 5 better jobs than the Atlanta Falcons. Now, is it the best job? No, maybe not the best job, because you still have to deal with Arthur Blank and you still got to deal with Rich McKay and perhaps Terry Fontenot if he's there. But for coaching the team specifically with the talent of players that goes on the field every Sunday and performs at the highest level, every one of those teams that I just listed does not have nearly the defensive talent that the Atlanta Falcons do. Period. So, do you agree with ESPN's rankings? Type A for agree, type D for disagree. I completely disagree with them. I would say I'd probably put Atlanta at like 2 or 3 on that list. That's just my personal opinion. You let me know in the comment section down below. Before we continue on with the rest of the episode, got to tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. Christmas is tomorrow, and you're going to want to get in on every single deal that you can with our friends over at PrizePicks. Between the playoff pushes, basketball matchups, there is one place where it feels good to be right, and that is on PrizePicks. Everyone's favorite PrizePicks holiday promotion is back, 7 days of Picksmas. PrizePicks is giving out 7 days of deals all the way through Christmas Day, including a Christmas Day max discount tomorrow. Picksmas starts December 20th, so download the app today and unwrap all of those deals. PrizePicks is very easy to play, by the way. It only takes 30 seconds to make a lineup. You pick your player, the more or less on their stat projections, and then you watch your money multiply. Up to 2,000 times your cash this football and holiday season with PrizePicks. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. So as I'm reading this article written by ESPN, the one thought in my mind starts to percolate, and I'm sure it does for you as well. Does the defensive scheme change if you get rid of Raheem Morris, which might ultimately mean getting rid, of Jeff Ulbrich? I don't know. It depends on what kind of scheme you run. Do you run a base 4-3? Do you run a 3-4? Do you run a 5-2-5, or essentially whatever you want to run, or whatever that secondary defense is? But I do know this. The Falcons are hyper-aggressive at getting to the quarterback. Just look at their blitz rate. Sack versus blitz rate. 3rd highest blitz rate in the NFL, 2nd most sacks in the NFL. This is through week 15, by the way, so this isn't even accounting for the Cardinals game. So, look, I think that Jeff Ulbrich has done an excellent job given the talent that he's got around him. They clearly decided that they were going to have one defensive philosophy when they hired him. We're going to get after the quarterback. And get after the quarterback they have done. James Pearce Jr., 8.5 sacks. Brandon Dorlus, 8 sacks. Jalen Walker, 5.5. And Zach Harrison, these are your leaders, by the way, 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. So, and Zach Harrison has been on IR, so he hasn't even, found time to get back onto the field. But it goes deeper than that. It's not just sacks. The Falcons are generating pressure, specifically with their 2 rookies. James Pearce Jr. is number 1 in the NFL for rookies in pressure rate at 13.9%. Walker, not that far behind him, 11.3%. He's actually taken less snaps as a pass rusher as well. So we can go back and forth about the success of the Atlanta Falcons and what they need to do to get better on defense. And trust me, they need an extra corner. They definitely need a defensive run stopper, a nose tackle. But Jeff Ulbrich has definitely done a great job so far with the one area the Falcons have been struggling for the last few years, which is getting pressure on the quarterback. You need a pass rush. It's the calling card of the team now. That is the identity of this football team. Get to the quarterback. Everything else you can kind of figure out as you go along, depending on the coach that you get. So if you were going to say, well, Moose, we don't want to get rid of our calling card. We don't want to get rid of Jeff Ulbrich. We want him to remain as our defensive coordinator. Is there a head coach that would work with Jeff Ulbrich immediately and not get rid of him? There is one, in my opinion, that would do so. Brian Flores. Blitzes more often than any defensive coordinator in the entire National Football League. Loves young, aggressive talent on the defensive side of the ball. Has creative blitz scheming packages. I mean, just take a look at the NFL blitz rate again one more time. What do you see? Yes, the Broncos have the most sacks, and the Falcons have the second most sacks. But they do often blitz, about 40% of the time. The Vikings blitz more than 50% of the time. Look at that. And I'll be completely honest with you. The Vikings don't have that great of a secondary. The Falcons secondary is far more talented than theirs. I'd be licking my chops if I was Brian Flores. If Arthur Blank and Terry Fontenot called me up today and I'm Brian Flores, I am seriously considering the job. You get to work with that kind of talented defense. And essentially, you could make the argument that you want to go out there and either keep Kirk Cousins or draft a quarterback, maybe both. There's a lot of options here on the table. I think Brian Flores would be an amazing head coach for this football team. That's all I got for you, though, on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video, and as always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool.